Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Belgium once again and continue on with this little Trappist mini-series that I've been doing for you over the last couple of videos. So as I mentioned with this Trappist series, I want to go through each of the 7 original Trappist breweries and just try all the different types of beer that you can get from the breweries. So we've not done a Tripel yet, and this is what we're going to do today. So for this one we are going to go to Brouwerij Westmalle and we're having a look at their Tripel. So this one comes in at 9.5%, and a lot of the guys that I know in the beer tubing community have told me that this is their sort of go-to Tripel when it comes to Belgian beer. I don't think I've ever tried this one. I have reviewed the Westmalle Tripel for you before, but it should be really quite nice. This guy of course comes in at 9.5% ABV, and you know it's really highly rated on Rate Beer, Beer Advocate and Untappd and all of these sorts of things, so it should be a really nice beer, and I'm quite excited to try this one for the very first time. So I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer, and as always I hope you're enjoying this nice little Trappist series that I'm doing for you as well. So anyway, as usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. I'll also tell you a little bit about the Abbey as well, since this is a Trappist beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Westmalle before. No doubt I will do a couple more in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there, of course, for all the Belgian beers that I've reviewed for you before, and please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Westmalle Brewery then. So the Westmalle Brewery, as I've mentioned to you, is attached to the Westmalle Abbey in Westmalle of all places, to the northeast of Antwerp in Belgium, close to the Dutch border actually. So the Trappist Abbey is officially known as Abdij onze lieve vrouw het heilig hart van Jezus, if I've pronounced that correctly, and it was founded on the 6th of June 1794. However, the Abbey community was not elevated to Trappist status until the 22nd of April 1836. So the first abbot, Martinus Dom, decided early on that the Abbey would brew its own beer, and the first batch was produced between August and December of 1836. So the pioneering brewers were Father Bonaventure Hermans and also Abericus Kemps. So the original beer was actually a light brown beer with quite a sweet taste. By 1856, however, the monks had prepared their second beer, which was a dark brown beer, which is considered by many to be the first Dubbel beer. So that was, like I told you in the review that I did of the Dubbel a few years ago, that was the first Dubbel beer that you found in Belgium as far as I know. But the recipe was then used that is used for the Dubbel nowadays is actually one that was derived from a recipe first tried in 1926, but the first sales of beer began in 1856 to the local people around the monastery. So in 1856 the brewery was enlarged and it was rebuilt following the example set by the Trappist of Forges, which were the Chimay Trappists of course, and then Father Ignatius Canham joined the brewing team and really kind of pushed it forward. So another new brewery was built in 1933, and the following year the brewery produced a strong pale ale at 9.5%, and they gave it the name Tripel, which is the first modern use of the term. So this one of course was the first beer that was termed a Tripel. So the brewery was once again remodelled in 1991, and it now has a capacity of 120,000 hectolitres, and the current brewery staff are 22 monks and 40 outside staff. So the beers that these guys produce, they have the Tripel, the Dubbel, and they also have the Extra as well. So I guess there's one more beer that I can review from Westmalle for you at some point in the future. I'm not sure how easy it is to get the Westmalle Extra, but hopefully I can go over to Belgium sometime and pick that beer up. I would like to go around all of these Trappist monasteries and pick up the kind of rarer beers that you can't normally find. But as I say, this one is was the first beer that was termed a Tripel, so definitely looking forward to this. But that's all you need to know about the brewery for just now. If you want to read a little bit more about the Abbey and things like that, then you can have a little look at the websites and stuff below. There's a big history on the monastery website, and of course you can use Wikipedia and things like that as well. But as I said, all the links are in the description below. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. So yeah. So it says on the back here, this clear golden yellow Tripel is brewed within the walls of a Trappist abbey on a small scale under the supervision of the monks. Profit is not the objective. The income is used for their daily life and to maintain the abbey, and a major share of the profits is donated to charity. So of course that is the big thing, as I've mentioned to you before, with the Trappist breweries. They use a bit of their profits to look after themselves and look after the abbey and things like that, but most of it does actually go to charity and things. So yeah, so this one of course has one of these distinctive bottles. I think Westvleteren also used this bottle with the Trappisten beer band around the top, but the Westmalle ones of course are very distinctive. They have this nice kind of diamond shape on the top there, as you can see is the little bit at the back that I was just reading to you, and here is the Westmalle bottle cap on this one. Each of the different beers do have their own bottle caps as well. I still have the Dubel bottle cap, and it was this kind of dark mahogany burgundy brown sort of thing, so the bottles are very similar, just different colours depending on the beer. Like I said, this one comes in at 9.5% ABV, and it is an Abdij Tripel. So yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. Nice smoky opening then. As I always say, you do have to be a little bit careful with Belgian beers because they can be very excitable. And as you can see with this, you do sometimes get a massive head on them. So just when you're pouring Belgian beer, just be very, very careful with it. But as you would expect from the Tripel, it's pouring a really nice, kind of bright, kind of straw, golden yellow. Just pour it very, very slowly. I think that'll do for the moment. We'll put the last little bit in a wee second. I seem to be getting a wee bit of the hay fever today. I don't normally have hay fever, but it shouldn't affect me kind of too much. But as you can see, this has poured a really nice, kind of bright, golden yellow colour. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the video, but it's a lot brighter when you actually put the light through it. It's coming through on the video as far as I can see on the control. It's coming out as a slightly darker yellow, but this is a really quite bright yellow. It's almost the same colour as like a Saison or something like this. It's really just quite a bright yellow. You can see there's a 2-finger frothy white head on this one. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, quite a few just going up towards the bottom of the head, and there you can see there's little tiny bits of sediment, just really small particles floating around in this beer. That's what's given it all its nice kind of hazy character, but overall, you know, it looks really nice. Let's just stick the last little bit of this in and we'll check out the aroma then. You can see that's made it just even more hazy, but it looks very, very nice. There wasn't even a lot of sediment at the bottom of the bottle of this one, and I actually brought this bottle back from Systembolaget in Sweden, so I thought it might have had a little bit more because they've always got their bottles sitting for a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, a really nice beer. So let's check out the aroma of this and see how we get on then. So yeah, as you would expect, the Tripel always gives you this really nice kind of big bready aroma. So from this one you can pick that up definitely. There's a little bit of a spicy note to it. I'm not quite sure if it's coriander or something like that. There's definitely a wee bit of that typical yeasty sort of banana note that you expect of the style as well. Some kind of clovey spice, I think, maybe could be another descriptor. Clove and coriander. But that's not too prominent. This one really is leaning more towards the kind of sweet, white, bready sort of thing. There's a good bit, I'm getting a good bit of kind of rich, slightly boozy-ish, biscuity caramel coming out of the beer. As I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you start to taste it. That's always half the experience when it comes to craft beer and whiskey and things like that. The head on this one doesn't want to go away, it's retaining really well. I would like it just to drop a little bit so I can get a better look at the aroma. But yeah, you can smell some nice kind of light grassy hop in this one. It's got a little bit of floral character as well, but it's not overly floral, if that makes sense. It is leaning more towards the kind of grassy side of things. And it's almost got a little bit of that lemony citrus. It does have a little bit of a sharper lemon citrus, but at the same time it does come across as a kind of lemongrass thing, and that sort of gives the grassy hops just a little bit more prominence. But it smells really quite nice. So just as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But it smells really nice. As I always said, Belgian beers, they can be kind of complex in their aromas, but they don't jump out the glass at you in the same way that like an American IPA or something like that would. The German beers were always the same. That seems to be a thing. The traditional beers don't have quite as bold an aroma as the newer ones, and that seems to be a new thing, adding aroma hops and things like this. But these beers really are more malt focused and more yeast focused, of course, in Belgium. But it smells really nice. It's got that lovely kind of big bready estery character that you expect of a Belgian beer. The Tripel and the Quadruple are probably my kind of favourite styles that you're going to find from Belgium. I really enjoy trying different tripels and quadrupels. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get stuck into this one. So this one is the Westmalle Tripel from Brouwerij Westmalle, part of the Abbey at Westmalle in northern Belgium. Slange, or Santé, Proust I guess you would say for this one. Cheers. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's really nice. I've been looking forward to this one since I actually got the 7 beers together and to prepare for this series, but this is one that I've really been looking forward to trying. The one tomorrow is one that I've been looking forward to as well. That's a damn good beer. I can see why folk were telling me, you know, this is one of the kind of go-to tripels. It is really nice. The other thing I forgot to point out on this one that I've just remembered, on the back here, there you can see the official Trappist marker. I always like to point that out in the Trappist beer reviews, and I forgot this time. But I can see why a lot of people were telling me this is the kind of go-to tripel. It's really good. And of course, if it is the kind of, how do you say, the sort of benchmark for the style, I can see why a lot of people would say that. But this is nice. So with this one, where to start? As I always say, when you're tasting the beer, sugar it around your palate a little bit and just let your whole mouth adjust before you start actually, before you start analysing the flavour too much. But with this one, you know, you've got that nice white light malt base that just goes right across the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you start to get these thicker, bready, doughy, yeasty characteristics that you expect of Belgian beer. But that's really nice. There's a good bit of a kind of caramelly, boozy character in the middle of the tongue there. You can pick up a little bit of that slightly banana-ish flavour, but for me, it's not too. That's not too prominent. You can feel just a little bit of it around the edges of your tongue. There's maybe a wee bit of that kind of clovey spice in there, and it does give the sort of middle part of your palate a nice smoothness to it. But there's a big boozy caramel part right in the middle of your tongue. It's really nice, this one. I do like the tripel. Probably is it could well be my favourite style that you get from Belgium. And this is really nice. I mean, make no mistake about this, it is the kind of benchmark, I guess, for the tripel style. But it's just such a beautiful beer. So if you haven't tried this already, it is very easily available. So do go and actually, or very readily available I should say. So do go and pick one up and just see how you get on with it. This is a nice beer. But yeah, that's damn good. I love just how this malt base goes together. It's got a really nice smoothness, and in the middle of the tongue you just get that little light boozy character. The hops of course are kind of what you'd expect. There's a teeny bit of earthiness in the back corner of your palate, but that's very minimal. As you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, it is a lot more kind of floral. You can feel a good bit of floral bitterness on this one, and that's what kind of separates it from the double and I guess the quadrupel style as well. The quadrupel has a little bit more of the double and quadruple have a bit more of an earthiness to them, and the hops tend to be smoother. This one does have a little bit more bitterness to it than the double and quadruple styles. The double and quadruple are a lot closer to each other in terms of flavour profile than the tripel is. But that's a damn good beer. But you get this nice, slightly floral bitterness around the front corners of your palate then as you go round the very front curve of your tongue. It's just a little bit lighter and more grassy. If you go behind the front curve of your palate there, you pick up this really kind of strong, slightly lemony citrus character. You can just feel that little oily bubble where there's those fruity esters come out, and it's just got that kind of strong lemony character to it. It's not too tart or anything like that, it's just got that dark lemony citrus to it. But it is really nice. And around the very front curve of the tongue, as you progress further into the aftertaste, the slightly grassy ester comes out as a little bit more of a lemongrass kind of thing. But that's a really nice beer. I can see why so many people like this, and I guess it is one of the classic Belgian beers, but I love the tripel style, I'll have to say that straight up. This is a style that I really enjoy, and like I said, it would either be between this one or the Quadrupel that would be my favourite sort of Belgian beer style. The Saisons and stuff and all of this are quite nice, but for me, it's all about the Tripel and the Quadrupel. You've got to have these big boozy beers, and this one is really, really nice. I'm glad that I got to do this as part of this mini-series. I just like how it all goes together. You've got that nice bit of floral bitterness, and you've got that big, bready, that typical sort of Belgian bready yeasty sort of thing going on in the malt base. It just really does everything you want it to do. So it's, you know, you can't say much more about this one. It's just a great beer. So if you haven't tried it already, I highly recommend that you do. In the aftertaste, you get a wee bit of the more of the earthiness coming out from the back corner of the palate as well. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of slightly peachy or apricot-y flavour coming out of this later into the aftertaste too. You do get something a little bit more to the fruity character than simply a kind of lemongrass citrus, but for me, this is just a wonderful, wonderful beer. Try this if you get the chance. It's really readily available, so you don't really have an excuse not to try this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this one is quite full-bodied, this. I think it's fair to say this is a full-bodied beer. In comparison to the other ones in the series so far, the carbonation on this one's actually a little bit lighter. That's one of the things I always find with Belgian beer, is it does tend to have quite a lively carbonation, but to me this one comes across as a little bit smoother. It does have a little bit of liveliness to it, but nowhere near as much as the other ones I've reviewed in the series. It's got a big oily mouthfeel though. The malt base has a good bit of sweetness to it, but mainly it is quite smooth. That big kind of caramel flavour that covers the booziness of this beer does give it a little bit of sweetness, but overall, you know, it is quite bready and it is quite smooth. So there's a nice sort of floral, as I said, there's a nice bit of hoppy bitterness to this one, and there's a good little bit of fruity character, and it does have a little bit of sharpness there, and in the aftertaste it mellows out just to give you a little bit more kind of juiciness. But overall, this is a really, really good beer. There is a little bit of boozy warmth to it, and I can feel it a little bit. I didn't drink anything before this, of course, but you can feel a little bit of the booziness coming out of this beer. But at 9.5%, that is to be expected, and of course having a heavier, sort of boozier character, if you like, is one of the characteristics or one of the traits of Belgian beer. But this is a wonderful, wonderful beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. It's a bit of a shame that it's taken me so long to try this one actually, because I did try the Duvel quite early on and I just never got round to this, but it is nice to make it part of this little Trappist series for you. But yeah, been really cool to review this beer. I hope you've enjoyed my take on it. As always, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beer from the Westmalle range is as well, and do give me some tips on where I can get a hold of the Westmalle Extra from. I think I might need to go to the Abbey for it, but I do want to review that for you in the future. But thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media, but most importantly, make sure you try some of these Trappist beers, and we will do the final video in the series tomorrow. I hope you're enjoying the series, and I will catch you tomorrow with the next instalment. Stand just now, make sure you try the Westmalle Tripel, the kind of benchmark for the Belgian Tripel style. Proust.